Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of the Cinematic Trinity where we talk movies, TV shows and games, new and old. I'm Tulip.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Kieran.
This week we're talking about the brand new Netflix series Fool Me Once starring Michelle Keegan and Joanna Lumley. So let's get into it. So this series is your classic crime drama, murder mystery. Yeah. It's based on a book by Harlan Coben. I never knew who he was before this. I don't really read. But apparently he's had quite a lot of different Netflix series before this one. And I'd just like to say that it was my fault that we started watching this series, because it was me who said, oh, do you know what? I've seen this really great thing. I've seen Michelle Keegan on this morning. You know, I think we should, I really like Joanna Lumley. I think we should watch this. And it was a bit disappointing, wasn't it?
It's very mid, in my opinion, very average. I mean, to Tulip's credit, we did want to watch more TV shows and review more TV shows. We realised when we were doing our 2023 wrap-up, we were like, we have not watched any TV, basically. Like, we watched The Last of Us, and that was about it. Like, we didn't really watch anything. So this was a good start for us in 2024 to actually watch a TV series. It's not 5 movie reviews and then, do a TV, do a TV show, do a game. But I think, it's one to cross off the list. I feel like there was a lot of buzz about it. Like, loads of people talking about, it's the next binge-able Netflix series. You kind of like, when you hear that, you're like, could it be like a Stranger Things? Could it be insert other sex education? Yeah. Is it one of these type of series? And for me, no.
No, it's definitely not. No. I was really disappointed, I think. And we will go into spoilers a little bit later, but not right now. We'll try and say as much as we can without giving you spoilers, because I do still think that there is a good story behind it. It was just the execution and the editing and the script that kind of really let it down, I think.
My thing for this show, and anyone who watches it will know, dramatic sting, especially if you watch it with subtitles, that will be the main thing. Yeah. Dramatic sting is just littered in this, because I feel
what do you mean by that, Michael?
I feel like I'm going to try and input a bit of audio to examine my point here, but dramatic sting is just sort of like your general doom or badoom, it's like whenever there's a clue or something that you have missed. I do that in quotation marks as well, because I feel like the show kind of treats you more like an idiot than most mystery shows do.
Hang on a minute. That's what I said. What I said when we started watching it last week, I said, this programme thinks that I've not seen any crime dramas before. Yeah. Whereas I've seen a lot of crime dramas, and I could solve a murder if I was a detective in real life because of the amount of crime dramas I've seen.
That's not how the police recruit people to
let do. And what a shame that is.
I've watched a lot of TV. About all this How many episodes of Endeavour have you watched?
Yeah, shut up. I've watched every single
all
episode.
Of the X-Files.
But it's true because every time a piece of information, I think the funniest part of it was with the burner phone. So this isn't really... Is it a spoiler?
I mean, no, not
No, I'll just talk generally. So basically, somebody gets out an old Nokia, say. I think it's called TT phone in the actual thing, but say it's an old Nokia brick phone. Somebody gets it out, takes a phone call, and is talking angrily on the phone. And the first thing I see when I see this phone is, that's a burner phone. Why is the other person sitting at the other end of the table not saying, why have you got a burner phone there? What are you doing on that burner phone? And doesn't tell the police about it. I'm sorry. Yeah. But if we'd had dinner and you got out a burner phone, the first thing I'd be like, what are you doing on that old phone? Why have you got a burner phone? And then if you went outside and started arguing with somebody on it, I'd be well suspicious. But the TV show doesn't know how suspicious I would be. It does all these doom, and it's oh my god, but her other phone, her iPhone, was already on the table, so it must not be her phone, so it was just I'm
going to try and use an actual, I'm going to get a sting from online, because it'd be just trying to figure a line of dialogue you could use for that, because it'd be do you remember what the murder weapon was? Doom. Yeah, I was going to put the sound into it.
I don't need the sound, I can do it.
Do a little flashback to the weapon.
Yeah. All
maybe that
flashbacks.
Scene of someone dying over and over again. Repeated 20 times.
It'd be do you know that this guy liked eating pizza? and then it'd be, flashback to that. But I think that was very overdone. I didn't like the opening sequence. Like, I really don't want to be like so negative. Tulip's dad hates it when we're really crapping on a show or crapping on anything, because Tulip's dad's very positive.
It's not that he wants you to not be negative. He says you can't say anything bad without giving your reasons for it. So you've got to give your reasons.
For me, it's one of those typical, like, I don't even know if it's like a mystery thing. It's just the typical TV intro where stuff is on screen that you'll soon learn the importance of.
Do you mean the opening titles?
Yeah. That's what. The credits, the opening credits, or whatever.
Yeah, the opening credits where it's doing
it's
music.
Like,
and there's a sunflower. And then there's like that's just generic.
Like that's just generic.
No,
sunflower dies.
It's not. No, the sunflower is what was left on the grave.
Was it?
What leads to a whole side plot in the film is about, oh my god, that's who left the sunflower on the grave, and that's why the sunflower's there, and that's why the masks are there, and that's why the boat is there. And it's just like, I feel like the first time I saw it was The Missing, which you've not seen.
No.
You've not seen. The first series is really good. The second series isn't as good as the other one. But the first series was really good, although the ending was rubbish. And that was exactly the same. Like the opening credits, like, kind of like hinted to, and you can piece it all together as you're going along. Yeah.
Shots and objects where it's like, what's this? Could this be important? Stuff like that. And it was just it ends with like a shot of the main house and like the windows cracked, but it's just very poor looking cracking windows. I don't know whether it's more like, I don't know if it's like the media person in me, or I'm kind of like, oh, that's not very good. Like,
The media person.
Yeah. What did you think of it from
from inside? It only comes out when you watch TV shows on Netflix.
I feel like it's the most critical I've been of like a movie's editing for like ages, or like a TV show's editing. I don't know what you thought, Kieran, like in terms of how it structured itself, or like how it presented itself, like editing wise.
It was straight. To me, it felt like I could do it, which.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, not to crap on my own abilities, but I don't think is very impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of things just felt unnecessary. I think that is when we come to wrap things up. I'm going to say it now anyway because I've just said the word. But unnecessary is how I would describe the entire thing.
It was just your typical, like, I feel like it's the most Netflix kind of show I've watched in a good while, where it's kind of like, especially at the end 5 minutes is always like, this character's doing something, it's all ramping up, and then cut to black, binge the next episode please. It's kind of like very like, just felt like that a lot in this, and it's kind of like, oh
yeah. But that, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing though, because that, as you say, that's just what it's like in these kind of shows. Like at least it's all there. Like, have you ever watched Line of Duty? And, like, in the ending of those episodes, it's just, sometimes the whole thing is building up to that 5 minutes at the end where you learn something and, like, no, give me more. Yeah. But I think that's good, like, because it keeps you coming back, it keeps you watching it. That's the whole point of it, isn't it?
I mean, if you want an example, because, like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of shows, like you said, they kind of do this. An example of one where, like, the entire film, it's like the entire film, and, like, it's why people like it. But Ocean's 11... The entire film.
I haven't seen
it. No.
The entire film is building up to all these twists at the end, and they do them all at the end, and it's really enjoyable because they've hinted at it throughout the entire thing, and you're like, does that mean that? Does that mean that? And then you kind of like everything kind of all settles itself in the end, and you're like, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
This did not give that feeling.
I think what ruins it is the amount of flashbacks.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to use your brain at all. When they say, Tommy Dark, there's no, oh gosh, who was that? Oh, who was that? And let me use my brain to think about who that was and picture their face. It's, no, there's already a flashback on screen. So when it comes to the end and it is wrapping up and they're doing all the flashbacks, it's like, I've seen this flashback 50 times, thank you. Not, oh my god, yeah, do you remember that right? In the first episode, I never even picked up on it, blah, blah, blah. That's when it's good.
I think just to insert this here, because the general premise of the show is, or the central hook, is that Michelle Keegan's character, Maya Burkett, or Maya Stern is her other name.
Her maiden name.
Yeah, her husband is killed at the beginning of the show. He's dead. They had the funeral and everything. But then on the nanny cam, she spots her husband again. So it's like, oh, is he alive? What's going on here? And then, she sort of stumbles onto this conspiracy, and there's like other characters thrown in here because it's kind of her investigation, the police's investigation, obviously, of her husband's murder.
And also her sister's been murdered.
Yeah, under suspicious circumstances.
Prior.
So it's all just, it's all these different investigations, and they all coincide together, sort of thing. So I think going back to what you said there, because I thought the same, like there's so many names thrown out here, and it just sort of loses all meaning of like, oh, you need to go speak to this person, and then this person, and then this person comes back into it, and it's kind of like, there's too many things to keep up with here, like, simplify, because I appreciate it's like a conspiracy, so obviously there's going to be inner workings and it's going to be very detailed, but when it's like you expect me to remember all these people's names in like a short amount of time, it's just like it didn't feel overly satisfying, or even like, yo, Tommy Dark, like even
oh my god, I hope you wouldn't be like that ever.
Yeah, I didn't find it like that necessarily. I found it more that there were quite a few plot points that didn't go anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So it was like, so that entire like 15 minutes of this person's story was entirely useless and gave no value to the plot whatsoever.
Or it's not even like this is just like a nice side plot that doesn't necessarily link to that, like it is literally a side plot, but it's still enjoyable because it's not really enjoyable.
There was just I just like, it didn't feel like some of them in there had any value whatsoever to me.
I think for like, as well, obviously we're going to talk spoilers, but like getting into like the ending twist kind of thing, obviously what you go into the final episode with didn't feel as satisfying as the show probably wanted you to, like, or like as kind of thing. Yeah. There was like there was one moment that made you physically go, oh my god, but that was nothing to do with like any revelations in the plot. It was just a thing that it was just a set piece that happened, kind of thing. But yeah, the final like thing it goes for, like, oh, this is like the final thing. You're kind of like, great.
And the thing is, like, the actual story of it, as I said at the beginning, the actual story of it as to where the twists and turns lead and how it all connects together, I do think that actually is genuinely good. It's just the way it was presented on screen that made it disappointing.
I imagine reading the book of it, like, if you however many like hundreds of pages the book might be, imagine in that context where you're like reading through and it's like Tommy Dark is on page 48, and then you get to like page 150, and it's like, oh my god, Tommy, he's back in the book again. Like, that's more engaging for you. But I feel like it did, just as like a mystery thing, I feel like kind of too much stuff was going on. As like Kieran was saying, some elements didn't go anywhere, so it's kind of like, why was there so much going on if this bit here isn't going to actually progress anything too far? So I think in terms of like generic notes, this is not a spoiler, but we all thought it. Basically, with like Michelle Keegan or like Maya's investigation, she goes to a lot of places, interviews a lot of people, faces no resistance.
No, she doesn't
whatsoever. We'll touch on, I think, like some bits will come up in our spoilers, but like,
anytime she wants to get a bit of information out of somebody, she gets the information straight away.
There's no like,
apart from a bit of, why do you want this? Oh, I'm not telling you, and then she just goes, shut up and tell me, and then.
Shut up and tell me, I'm an army woman. No, that's what
I don't think that's quite the accent.
It was like Michelle Keegan was in the room.
Special guest Michelle Keegan. Yeah, so it's kind of like, apart from like one bit in the first episode where she gets pepper sprayed, I feel like that's the only resistance or like physical. I was supposed to say physical harm that comes to her kind of thing,
I know that we're all being quite negative.
Let's talk about some positives.
I can't do that until we get into spoilers.
Yeah.
I like Michael was saying about, like, it be like in the book form, you would probably enjoy the story a lot more because of like the mysteries would come through. Like, you see Tommy Dark's name, you see come up again. Yeah. Tommy Dark isn't that big a character. I think we're just using that because but like, the thing is with that, I think it's because this show suffered a lot from the direction and like how they wanted it to come across because of all the things, like, it's entirely in your face. There is nothing left for you to try and figure out. The bit that was good was the bit that they didn't tell us outright, and it was an actual twist. It seemed interesting.
And it's like kind of set up as well, like,
and it was set up. We'll get to it in spoilers.
I don't remember which twist.
Like, the one good twist in it was actually really good. it's just a shame they didn't try and harness that for the rest of what they were trying to do. Yeah.
Plot.
Yeah.
And also, Joanna Lumley was not in this programme enough.
No, God, no.
I was so gutted that she wasn't in there more, because she was really good on screen, and I think her and Michelle Keegan actually had really great chemistry together as, like, you know, two powerful people, really.
Well, she's kind of
coming
like,
together and butting heads.
Yeah.
So I think that was quite satisfying to watch, but there just wasn't enough of it.
She's like the matriarch of, like, the Burkett family, obviously,
Yeah.
who Maya married into, and it's kind of like, you know, your mother-in-law kind of situation. So yeah, there's just a good. She's very pompous.
Yeah.
Joanna Lumley's like essence, you know, like she's just good. I feel like that's a good positive. Is the performances were, you know, good. There wasn't like,
All right,
you know,
yeah.
I think like it's for the kind of show that it is. You're not talking like your big Oscar-worthy, BAFTA-worthy performances. It's just very like some. I like the guy who played. Kearse, the detective.
Yeah, he was good.
He had some good stuff in here. You know, Michelle Keegan, she was
Yeah,
all right
she was
as
good.
well.
And props to her wardrobe, because she was wearing some lovely things.
Oh yeah, we should
Really
have
lovely things. She had a gorgeous coat on that was like check coat, and then I saw on Instagram somebody posting about what her outfits were, where they were from, and other stories. Marge, Dolce & Gabbana coat. So it's like, of course, that's how nice it is.
Yep.
But she wore some lovely things. So I know you guys don't
That's
care
where the
about
budget
that.
went.
Yeah,
Michelle Keegan's
obviously.
wardrobe.
Yeah.
Well, I did see, and you showed me, it was the house where the Burkett family is situated is Tommy Shelby's house from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, and I also saw a clip of Mr. Tumble filming scenes outside
Mr.
the
Tumble
house
was
as
in
well. Yeah, you know, from
Yes, something special.
Yeah, we all know who Mr. Tumble is.
Justin Fletcher.
Yeah, that's it. Justin Tumble.
Can you sign murder? You know, just get him in there.
Can you?
No, I don't
Can
know.
you do any sign language? Can you do any sign language, Kieran?
I think that's A.
Well, it's
I think that's E.
A-E-I-O-U, and then that's S.
I think that's hello.
Yeah, thank you. And then please. I think it's please and thank you. I think. And that's Jesus. There you go.
This is our sign language break.
That's
of
your
the
lesson.
episode.
That's your lesson for today. We want to see what you do next week.
Send us
You
your,
sign.
send us your best sign language. I think, you know what, I think before we'll kind of wrap up here the general thoughts, because I feel like there's a bit to get into with the story.
I think, as Kieran said, there may be some more positives once we go into the spoiler section.
Yeah.
So shall we go to the spoiler
Well, I think
section and
overall,
cue the music?
you know, I always like to do it. What would you score it?
6.
4.
Kieran? 4! That's a little bit low.
I'm thinking 4 or 5. Yeah.
Oh, am I being a bit generous then?
No,
I think I'm just being a little bit I don't know.
I don't see this programme as being your thing. I might be wrong.
I don't mind crime dramas. I just don't think this was the one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to watch more then. Have you ever watched Line of Duty?
No.
Or like The Missing or anything? There's lots that we can watch. I think we should watch
Stay
them.
tuned for the Cinematic Trinity retrospective on the Line of... Although that ended poorly as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it got worse, but like the first 4 seasons were
Right.
just fantastic.
For like...
Fargo.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Fargo.
Yeah.
Watch
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, that's brilliant as well.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Loot.
Yeah. on that note, I'll go 5. I think to try because it was just very
4,
average.
5, 6. Oh, 4, 5, 6. Sorry.
Yeah, so because like it just average, but
Yeah.
Cue the spoiler jingle.
Spoilers ahead.
Kieran, what was your
What positives
So-
do you have to say now? You can
I mean,
reveal spoilers.
we mentioned it before, Kearse and his story. The twist of the medicine and like him seeing his deceased wife and you know and that whole thing, because you kind of see her throughout the thing, and there is one like a good hint with his phone where he's sending her messages and obviously getting no responses because obviously she's deceased. So you know he meets her in like a couple places, and like you find out at the end that this medicine has like really negative side effects because they've been fudging the results of
the Burkitts
Yeah,
have been
the Burkitts
fudging
have
the results, the main family.
so that one twist, like I mean we all kind of thought it was like, oh, that was really good. I didn't,
Yeah.
didn't think I didn't see it coming as such.
I didn't see it
also
at all.
It's also the kind of twist where flashbacks work well because it gives you like a different perspective on things that happened, because it's kind of like, you know, he's basically interviewing like a conspiracy theorist guy who stumbled onto that conspiracy about the drugs, and it's him saying, oh, they might have sound effects like, you know, hallucinations and stuff like that, and it's recontextualizing what you've already seen, because
and you can see him, like, it's all focused on him, and I think that is quite well done, where it's all focusing on him. You can hear the conspiracy theorist telling him about these drugs and how harmful they are, and then he's literally like thinking, you're like, oh, hang on a minute, and then he finds them, gets them out of his pocket, and he says Burkitt's on them.
Yeah, because he's kind of like, that's why I crashed my car in the first episode. That's why I keep like, you know, because every time he keeps
having blackouts.
Yeah.
And passing out, and, you know, getting chest pains and stuff like that, and hallucinating. And I had no idea that. But you don't really know that it's his wife. You think that that's his like donor, because he was an alcoholic, and you just think that that's sponsor, not donor. You think that that's his sponsor.
Which because they say it,
which
like,
is very believable.
You know, the hallucination says it, like, I'm your sponsor. I'm meant to be looking after you, but no, it's actually his previous dead wife. Yeah,
who was murdered, and she was a police officer as well.
Yes.
So all that, that was a really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, because it was funny, because you were saying, like, why is this so relevant? Like, why do we keep seeing this man passing out? Like, this is really boring. But then when it all like came to fruition, it was like, payoff. This is why we've been watching it. And that's when programs like this are really good, where you're watching something, you're like, where is this going? And then all of a sudden it's revealed, and it's like, oh my god, I never would have guessed that. Yeah. And that's when it's really good.
If they kept a lot of the reveals consistent with that kind of theme, and they did it in that kind of way, then this would have easily been like way higher in kind of my kind of rankings, because I think there is a good story behind this. It was just not executed very well.
Absolutely.
No, because like the big twist is
Maya killed her husband.
Oh my goodness.
Which, to be fair, I didn't see it coming. I thought it probably would be that, but I couldn't quite figure out like why. And sort of all piece it together in my mind. But I was still disappointed that was what it was, because we just learned that she killed him, but we didn't really learn why yet. So I feel like we didn't have enough facts for it to be satisfying.
Because I thought at one point as well with it, because I think it was when we went on to that like penultimate episode when the reveal happens, I was kind of like, oh, it's kind of like stopped being about Joe's murder now. It's all been focusing on her sister. Like, it's kind of like
I thought that.
It's kind of that was why, because she wasn't investigating her husband's murder, because she killed him, you know.
Yeah, but she was still investigating Claire's murder. She still didn't know quite. And I think that's the thing. Yeah, she still didn't quite know why he killed Claire. Yeah. Because Joe killed Claire. Maya's husband Joe killed Maya's sister Claire, and that's how the sort of. And then there's somebody else who dies, but I don't really know what's going on with that. But she doesn't know. She knows that Joe killed Claire, but doesn't know why, and that's what she wants to find out. That's the conspiracy. But we just don't. Do you think it would have been better if we'd have just known from the start that Maya killed her husband and was kind of like back? She was like, right, I've killed him because I know that he did wrong, but I don't know why, and I still want to know why. And then it's like backtracking from there, almost like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where it's like everything's like in reverse, isn't it? All leading up to Claire's murder, and we know everything that.
I don't know if you'd have to do it from like a different perspective then.
Yeah.
Where like you maybe do it solely from like Keir's and maybe her brother-in-law's perspectives, like selectively, and then you see her kill her husband at the start, and then you kind of see these characters piece it together while you already know.
Yeah, because
maybe that would work. But I don't think it would work if you saw her kill and then follow her throughout the entire thing.
I guess it's sort of like a. I was almost going to say like a Killers of the Flower Moon situation, where it's like, you know, they did the murders and this is sort of how they tried to like evade questioning, because like it is said that Joanna Lumley's character thinks Maya killed her son, so it's kind of like because the whole thing on the nanny cam, like her seeing her husband on the nanny cam, is she just paid a couple of her employees to deep fake Joe being on the camera to then set Maya up for her to make a mistake and then obviously reveal that she killed Joe. So you could have like almost done that, like Joanna Lumley suspects something, I'm going to try and pin her down, and it's like, you know, one's trying to get away, the other one's trying to like discover the truth, and then it kind of like flips your perspective a bit, because it could be then you follow Maya and it's like, oh, actually, you know what, all the Burkitts were bad, it wasn't just like Joe
I thought
killing her
the
sister.
programme was going to be Maya and Judith, Michelle Keegan and Joanna Lumley, teaming up to solve Joe's murder. But one of them did it. But it's kind of like they're both implicated. If that was the case, it would have been that they're both implicated because Michelle Keegan was the one who actually committed the murder, and all she wants to know is what. She knows who, but she doesn't know why. And Judith Burkett doesn't know who, but she knows why. So that's kind of like how that would have been interesting. There you go, I've already written it.
So there's a few points she finds out about Joe. Basically, Joe, has a history of killing people because he killed his brother after they killed a guy at their school when they were kids, basically. Also, the guy, Christopher Swain, who tells that story, is the guy who plays Margit from Elden Ring.
Oh, for God's sake. Anything that we watch, there is a chance to lead it back to a game.
Yes, because video game actors can also act in normal things.
What?
Yes, I know.
That's crazy.
I recognised his voice and I was like, I've heard that somewhere. And then, it was like, it's that guy. And he was in, like,
Google.
Vampire, IMDb, actually. But, he was in Vampire and Elden Ring.
Did you search on IMDb or did you not type it into Google?
I know, I typed in "Fool Me Once" on IMDb. It took me through to that guy's actor, and then I looked on his film, because
that's so funny because I would not think I don't know who this actor is. I'm going to go on IMDb. I think I'm going to go on Google.
Have you ever considered being a detective, Mike?
But all I'll say is, video game actors don't typically, unless you're like Nolan North or Troy Baker, have a Wikipedia page. So it's not like you're going to find them from there. It's more like IMDb's a good voice actor, like finder tool. But that's my video game knowledge to impart on you. At least there's a Margit from Elden Ring is in this show.
Great.
Okay, we filled our quota, so we don't need to do a video game for a while.
He has a boss fight against Michelle Keegan. He's like foolish, tarnished, finding the secrets of Joe Burkett.
God's sake. All right.
What else have we
Enough
got?
Of that.
What else have we got? I will say, we discussed this at the end as well, but Kearse has a partner called Marty, and Marty is the happy-go-lucky, like, intern, detective. Kearse is like...
he's an intern.
Well, he's like... Yeah, but he's like kind of new to it, isn't he? Because it's like, Kearse is like this old...
he's young doesn't mean he's an intern.
It's the typical thing of he's a young, like, detective, and obviously Kearse is like...
Naive.
Yes, and Kearse is like, he's very by the book, this young guy, and then Kearse is like... Well, Kearse is basically, I'm too ill to be working, and I'm not going to tell anyone else, I'll get fired. Whereas Marty's like, I'm going to report you. He's like, no, don't do that.
I don't mind him, though. Like, you hated him,
didn't you? Kieran said a funny thing about, like, what... Because I said...
What did you say, Kieran?
What I said on Monday?
Yeah, because I was like, TikTok's
I want to hear it from Kieran's mouth.
I think I said golden retriever energy.
That was it,
yeah. Was saying golden retriever.
Because I said... Because I was saying, like, TikTok's going to have, like, a field day with this, because I feel like whenever, like, a Netflix show comes out, they're like, 5 minutes of Kearse and Marty having a cute partnership or whatever.
No, it's all about Michelle Keegan on TikTok. People love her, and I think she was really the nation's sweetheart before this because she was in something called Our Girl, where again she played somebody in the military, and everybody loved that. I never watched it, but everybody loved it, and everybody thought she was amazing.
Yeah.
And I like her because she's married to Mark Wright and all that, but I didn't really care that much. But people really
Coronation
love her.
Street.
Yeah, she did start on Coronation Street. So there you go.
What did, because this was like another point we talked about, again, we're not going every episode by every episode, but like another overarching thing or like thing they reference back to is Maya's PTSD or like incident when she was in the army, because that's like another mystery kind of thing that you have to like, you don't unravel it yourself really, you kind of just sit there until Maya like confesses what happened, because it's sort of, she kills civilians, and there's like a video that gets leaked of her doing it. The audio doesn't get leaked because the audio is more incriminating, because it's basically she disobeys direct orders to not fire on civilians. Yeah. What did you think of that? Because it's sort of like you get to add to the dramatic sting, it always just keeps cutting to her having PTSD, and it's just medic, and just like do you know what I mean?
I mean, you have to wonder, like within like a warring scenario, like maybe she would have lost her job because she disobeyed direct orders. Fair enough, but you could also have an argument that she had her squad down there. She was the captain of the squad. She was the one that was looking after them.
Yeah.
They were all injured. There was this unidentified truck coming towards them, potentially to cause more damage.
Yeah.
And she was watching it.
It's not black and white. It's not like she's evil. She maliciously like wanted to harm civilians.
Absolutely.
It was to protect her team down there that were trying to save their own men from, I think it was a gone off IED.
Like explosion happens in their car. They're obviously there, like injured. The medics are like seen to them, and
the
then
thing
it's
is,
like...
she can hear them on the ground, and she can also hear Control in her headphones, and all the men on the ground are shouting, "Get rid of that car! He needs to fire on that car! Get rid of it now! What are you doing? Why aren't you firing it? You need to get rid of it now!" So that's all she's hearing in her head, and then Control are saying to her, "No, we can't confirm the vehicle. Like, you don't fire. You're not clear to engage, whatever." So actually, that must be like...
She should have done
Imagine being in that situation where you've got people that you care on the ground. You have ability to fire this car. Somebody's telling you not to, but all you want to do is just fire. That's...
I'd wonder how accurate that would be to, like, if they were like actually in a war zone, how the consequences of that.
Yeah.
Like I would imagine there'd be a certain amount of, you know, while you're in the field, you know, it's very different being in command in like in a base somewhere entirely away from the danger. Like sometimes they might have to make those decisions.
Absolutely.
Obviously, civilian life's gone, so maybe fair enough. She would lose her job, and there would be consequences there. But I don't know if it would be as severe as like they maybe kind of made it out to be. Yeah,
because I think it was a national news thing as well. Like the footage was leaked online, and that's how she meets this conspiracy theorist through all this, you know, conspiracy theorying he did on whatever she did with killing those civilians, and that's kind of how that overlaps. But it's like, you know, is that, you know, how it would really play out. But
to be honest, I think if the audio was released, it probably would have done less to incriminate her.
Yeah,
because you would have been able to hear all the soldiers crying out on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, it's not black and white as they make it seem to be. It's very much grey.
Yeah.
I
think again, probably another like element which, like, if slightly better direction could have been like explored more, kind of thing. You know, like better almost, because I like one side plot kind of links into the story, doesn't massively, is like a as part of like her sister's investigation into the Burkitt family, which then got her killed. Claire meets her adopted son, and it's basically there's a sort of side plot with her two children finding their adoptive brother.
No, it's Claire's son that she gave up for adoption.
Oh yeah, sorry, yes,
and
that's what
it's the kid's half brother, not that she adopted his son.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
That's one of the plot lines which went nowhere.
It didn't go anywhere. Yeah.
It was only
after they discovered that was their brother. Like the kid's dad invited this brother that was given up for adoption into the house. They had like 30 seconds of, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, we've seen you before," and stuff. And he was never seen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, his dad came into it for a little bit, never seen again.
Oh, yeah, I just thought then, because in terms of like storylines which didn't like even get a resolution, it's Marty, Kirsty's partner in like the final episode, is like trying to chase to this location. He's just driving, never seen again. Like the finale of the episode happens, he's not even there. There's no like think what happened to Marty.
There's no interview or
nothing happened. He's just gone. It's just like he was going to meet Kirst somewhere. He's just the last shot of him is just driving. And then the other one is with the half brother. His dad's like a tech millionaire who was like one of Claire's former, like, you know, Maya's sister's former boyfriends. You know, Eddie, like, Claire's husband is like, "Oh, I'll take you to see your dad. We'll set you up or whatever." You don't see that meeting happen.
Yeah.
You don't see them meet. It's like, I'm sure he'd be overjoyed that his dad's like a tech millionaire, and I'd be
Absolutely.
like, and the dad's probably like overjoyed to have like a son. That never gets resolved. You don't see the consequences of that.
Yeah, you don't.
So that's just a bit like it's only there to set up one brief thing so Maya can go to a school and interview
just to
somewhere.
set up that school.
Yeah,
the
which she could have found
through going through one of Joe's old photos that might be in her house, because I'm sure Joe would have photos of him when he was younger in the house.
Absolutely.
So
or
he
just
went to Joanna Lumley's house.
Where does Joe go to school? Oh, it was such and such place.
Yeah, because it was like she walked into a school with no problem, and then the penultimate episode is the worst case of her just finding out crap and like not getting any. To know as well. Sorry, she walked into like a hotel and it was just one doorman goes, "Oi, stop, come back here," and then
walks after
very
her.
slowly.
just
Yeah.
doesn't like call security to be like, "Yeah, someone just come into our building, like chase him down." No, just like, "Oh, you're supposed to be gone." And then the penultimate episode is she goes to a car park to find like a nanny, basically people who did the deep fake footage.
God, yeah.
She walks into a car park, she hides behind a pillar for like God knows how long, and then she just holds these people up by gunpoint, and then like, you know, where was the CCTV footage in that car park is all I'll say, because I...
Sorry,
I mean, to be fair, there might be CCTV footage. It might not be monitored all the time. It depends what kind of building structure.
I feel like...
because security might not always be monitoring it. A lot of CCTV isn't monitored.
I feel like I was expecting either for it to be like, you know, just there's an explanation like, oh, this is an old car park, there's no security here, or it'd be like in like the final episode or something, like if their police are like hunting Maya down, it could be like, oh look, this was caught on security camera, she like kidnapped these two people, because that's what she does. She just holds two people at gunpoint and then forces them into the trunk of their car. But no, nothing happens, because, you know, and I feel like we'll wrap up just talking about the finale, like Maya's
I liked
last...
the finale of sort of the last hurrah as such, because she goes over to the Burkitts and they're all there. Joanna Lumley, two of the people who
and her two
part of
kids,
Burkitt
like
family.
the two,
her two kids.
Joanna, maybe
Caroline
and
Neil.
Don't know what the other name is. Yeah,
Neil.
Joanna Lumley. That's what.
Yeah. And anyway, you know, Michelle Keegan's there and she's saying, "This is what you did," you know, the
Just
drugs,
puts
whatever.
the conspiracy
puts
out,
everything
doesn't it?
together, lays it all out. We find out everything that happens, and then she gets shot and killed by one of the sons after Joanna Lumley tries to say, "Look, don't worry, you killed him. We'll blame everything on him. Nobody needs to know. Like, we'll brush this all under the carpet." But then the son comes over and kills her. And it turns out she's recording it all on the nanny cam, which is being live streamed by the conspiracy theorist. So everybody knows about it. And apparently it's being watched by millions of people in the world. But I'm sorry.
Yes, if I saw
it just doesn't happen like that, does it?
If I saw a random live stream go
Of
on...
a house and people talking, I'd be like, Mrs. Rob, what is this? I'm not watching that.
Is that Joanna Lumley? What's she doing there?
I mean, I guess it'd be like the equivalent, like, I don't know, if you saw like a live stream come up on like Twitter and it was like, oh, Jeff Bezos like exposed, then you might be like, oh, I'll click on that. A million people aren't going to click on that, you know.
Yeah.
How much stuff, like how many people look at stuff when Anonymous sends stuff out? Because that's the equivalent.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to kind of think about it that way, because like Anonymous are pretty big. Like whenever they announce something, a lot of people see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, a pharmaceutical company, I don't know.
Yeah, and nobody's going to know Judith Burkitt, you know, is exposed. Like, who's they're going to be like,
you'd
who?
see it the day after and be like, oh, live stream of these rich people killing a random woman.
Yeah,
you know,
and then everybody.
that's what it's going to be. So
Yeah.
that's like, you know, they get exposed, they get put in prison. We almost thought for a second that Maya didn't die, because it does like an 18 years later thing. So it's like Kearse obviously recovered now, like must have stopped taking the pills and like, you know, got better. Goes to hospital, meets up with Eddie, and basically just Maya's daughter Lily has grown up and had a kid of her own, which we thought was scary because she must be like 21 and like having a kid. Yeah, so it's just like, you know, that happens. We found it funny how like Kearse and like Eddie, like, you know, didn't interact very much in the season, but like they're like, how you doing?
Right, mate, how you doing? I haven't seen you for what, 18 years?
So it's just like, because I was always thinking they're going to go to like...
Sorry, can I just say, you looked
The
at your
watch
fake
again, yeah.
watch again. This is like the recurring
running
joke.
gag, just-
Recurring Kieran joke.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a watch one day.
I'm going to get you one for your birthday. Don't buy one so that I can do the joke and get you one for your birthday. God, that is just too funny.
I'll check the other end then.
So funny.
Oh,
Carry
God.
on, Michael, sorry.
But yeah, for a minute I thought that was going to be like Maya survived and it was like her in like hospital in like a coma or like recovering.
I thought that was
But no, it's just her daughter has a baby and then...
It's just to show that they all kept in touch and that Lily named her daughter Maya.
Yes,
That
after her mum.
was, you know, what we needed to know.
Which
and that's it.
Yeah, that's just sort of how it wrapped up. I think, again, like, when I first looked through the episode list and I saw the finale was like 35 minutes, I was like, right, something's off here. Because, like, all of these episodes, like, 45 minutes to an hour, so, like, clearly this is going to be rushed or something.
You could have easily taken out 3 episodes. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
or it could have been a film 2-hour-long film, I think would have been better.
Two-parter
for this
Netflix
one.
movie.
No, a 2-hour-long film or 2.5-hour-long film. Fine, done, perfect.
I reckon you could edit it, reduce it down by a lot, take out a lot of the weird boom noises, like rejig it a little bit, and it would be a lot better.
Yeah,
because as you say,
absolutely.
like performances and things are good.
Yeah,
it's there. It's just not.
You know what I think?
Right.
Yeah.
I think if it was a BBC crime drama, would have been alright.
Yeah, I think maybe
so
it would
the
have
same,
been.
but just with the BBC logo on it.
Yeah. Because I'd think,
No,
this is.
BBC editing.
I think this is premium. This is the British.
Goodness me, the British Broadcasting Company. Oh, good
My
show.
brain would be conditioned to think
to think it's good.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But yeah, a bit of I guess, I don't know, wasted potential is the right word to use. But you know what, could have been better. Could have been better.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Could have been better.
Not the next binge watchable series, I think.
Would you
The
recommend
next
somebody
Netflix
watch
series, that's what it is.
It is a Netflix. It is a Netflix show.
It is the Netflix show of 2024.
Is it the only Netflix show that we're going to watch?
No.
We can watch the last. Is it the last Airbenders getting a Netflix treatment? Yeah, I think that's
We
getting
need
it.
more crime
doesn't
dramas.
Strange.
More
I
crime
think.
dramas.
I don't know whether Stranger Things might be out this year.
Nah, it's got to be 2025.
Can't be, but no.
All
I
the
think,
kids will be too old, Kieran.
No, I've
they're
heard
gonna
that
be
it's.
like
I
30
heard
years
that it's
old.
just gone into production. I saw it on the news today
Right.
that it's just gone into production. So we
Okay.
won't get it this year, will we?
Who
But
knows?
do you know what? I feel like I don't even care.
That's the thing for
I
another
don't.
video.
I don't care. Anyway,
That's for our Stranger Things season 5 review in.
Yeah. Let's wrap
Whatever,
this one up
2025.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was Fool Me Once. That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
So
It did fool me once with that one twist that got
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we go. It did what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
That's my review.
yeah. So yeah, I think there's not really a topic set for next week's episode yet, but
Yeah.
obviously we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching or listening to this episode of the Cinematic Trinity. And in the meantime, I've been Michael.
I've been Tulip.
And I've been Kieran.